Southern California, welcome to Money Matters with Dino. Saturdays from noon to 1, right here on Power Players Radio, KTLK AM1150. Do you own a home or have plans to in the future? You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local real estate market and how to take advantage of that knowledge. How to approach home ownership or mortgage financing with design, vision, and focus, as well as accurate information. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, listen to Money Matters with Dino, right here on Power Players Radio, KTLK AM1150.
Welcome to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150, the most important hour of radio for Southern Californians every week. My name is Dino Katsiametis, and I want to thank you for joining today's conversation. Sounds like a bold thing to say, the most important hour of radio. But if you're listening right now, I guarantee that by the time this show is over, you'll have learned something valuable. If you go to our website, moneymatterswithdino.com, you'll see the tagline, From Your Estate to Real Estate, where your money matters. That title sums up what our show is all about. It's about money, your money. That can be anything from buying and selling homes or to the stock market or even starting a new business. Our goal and purpose for this show is to educate you regarding these matters. How do we do this? We seek out top professionals in our market and learn what their years of experience have taught them. Now, I know real estate and I'm a lifelong entrepreneur, and I have knowledge in many of these other fields, but I don't consider myself an expert in all these areas of business. Therefore, on this show, I bring you respected professionals that are experts in their fields because it's critical to me that I provide you with accurate and educational information that applies to you, and I take that very seriously. Before I get into what we have in store for you today and introduce our guests, I want to share with you this week's words of wisdom. Are you ready? Be purposeful in what you do. That's it. Be purposeful. I give you this advice because without purpose, you have no meaning, and most likely, you're not fulfilling your true potential. So what do I mean by be purposeful? I'm going to tell a quick story because about 25 years ago, I met this gentleman by the name of Brad Hagar, and I hope you're listening now because I want you to know you had an impact on my life back then. You said a lot of great things, but one thing you said in particular, you said, Dino, opportunity is around us all the time. It's just flying right by us. Problem is most of us have our eyes closed and we don't get a chance to see it. So what do? You have meaning, you have passion, and you go after your dreams. And with all that, there's no way you can't see that opportunity. So this is why I do the show week in and week out and why we decided to call the show Money Matters. My expertise is in growing and managing wealth using the vehicle of real estate. And I see too many people missing opportunities to become real estate wealthy. Having decades of experience and extensive knowledge in helping people with their real estate needs, as well as my own, has convinced me that real estate is still, and by far, the best way to grow a steady and secure portfolio of wealth. Now, that's not the only reason we call the show Money Matters. The other, and I think the greater reason, is that money affects your quality of life. Every financial decision you make will affect where you'll be able to go for dinner, how you'll spend the holidays, and if you're a family man like me, it'll mean where your kids will go to college, or even if they will be able to go to college. Think about that. Every financial decision you make today will affect your quality of life tomorrow. Decisions that will affect what neighborhood you live in and what schools your kids go to. If your kids will be able to play organized sports or even learn an instrument. I know that sounds silly, but it's not. All these things cost money. And I know as well as anybody does that you don't want to say no because of money, but too many of us have to too much of the time. Money, when managed properly with the advice of professionals, will enable you to say yes, and understanding money, whether it's the stock market or real estate, will protect you from market volatility like we experienced the past few years. So remember, from your estate to real estate, your money matters. I hope you enjoy the show. Co-hosting with me today is my humble and also very opinionated producer, Phil John Grand.
That's the first time I've ever been called humble before.
I know. I was trying to build up your reputation a little bit.
Thank you for that.
So, Phil, we have an incredible lineup today. We have real estate specialist and consultant and owner of Torelli Realty, Valerie Torelli, as well as Stacey Harmon from Harmon Enterprises. These are two extremely dynamic women. So I'm scared because Just on the ride up here, I could barely talk, especially with Valerie. And Valerie...
Not getting a word in edgewise.
Not getting a word in. Jeez. But this is why these women are so successful. So I'm really excited about that. In our next segment with the ladies, we're going to have our panel of experts. This segment is going to be a little different as we do a tribute to female-owned businesses. What makes them so successful in real estate as well as other industries? So stay tuned for that. As always, our last segment is our Ask Dino segment, where Phil will ask questions that you've emailed or Facebooked us, and I will use my extensive and personal knowledge to make certain those questions are answered properly, accurately, and hopefully be able to help you out. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever for myself or my guests that you're going to hear today in just a little bit, give us a call at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. I'd be glad to help you. Or you can even reach us online at moneymatterswithdino.com. Use us as your resource for real estate wealth. So, Phil, tell us, what are we talking about today?
I'm glad you asked. Did you know that the New York Times, Huffington Post, Business Daily News, and the Yahoo News have all recently reported that women make better bosses than men?
I didn't know that, and I'm really curious after talking to the ladies here today what my opinion's going to be after this.
Well, why do you think? Give a guess. Why do you think that they're all saying this?
So I did read a little bit of this ahead of time, right? So I was a little prepared because the one thing I got to say as far as women goes, if you're not somewhat prepared, you're going to be on the losing end of that battle.
Oh yeah, because they know how to prepare.
And a friend of mine, when I told him what we were going to be talking about today. And I told him, I go, the reason why is because of intuition, women's intuition. You know what he said?
What?
He said, yeah, that women's intuition has kicked me in the nuts twice already.
All right. Well, this is what they are specifically saying. They're saying offices with a high percentage of women managers tend to have more individualized employee feedback, more democratic decision-making, and more channels for interpersonal communication. And they also attribute high levels of success in female-run offices to a focus on intuition in decision-making. So you're absolutely right with the intuition thing. But this is all kind of true. I mean, I think I have a female boss. And I love dealing with her because she'll always listen to what you have to say, and she'll consider everything that you have to say. So you do kind of have this democratic feeling, and she's kind of got this open door policy, and she's so well respected that the office, everybody's happy, runs smoothly. There are no issues.
I actually have strong opinions about this as well, and some of the most successful and dynamic people I've met in business have been women. So I agree with this wholeheartedly. Now, some women feel like they have to overcompensate because they think they're in a man's industry, but in reality, they don't. The ones that I know that have been extremely successful, they don't overcompensate for anything. They just run a tight ship the way it's supposed to be run, and for that, they get the respect they need. And I think when you meet these women here today, you'll also see that that's how they run their business. You're listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. If you have any questions at all about what you've heard here today, or you want to get in touch with my guest today, give me a call at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, and let me help you become real estate wealthy. Coming up after the break, we have our panel discussion with the experts. Joining us from Torelli Realty is Valerie Torelli, and from Harmon Enterprises is Stacey Harmon. While you're waiting, think about your financial goals and ask yourself, am I investing in a way that will make me real estate wealthy? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When it comes to purchasing or refinancing your home, turn to someone with experience, CHL Mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing the home of your dreams, or refinancing. The team of mortgage specialists at CHL Mortgage provide you with superior knowledge and service. Their ultimate goal? Getting the highest quality loan at low rates. Their second goal? To create a lasting relationship with every client and continue to provide excellent service for years to come. If you're looking to purchase or refinance, call the experts at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Get additional details at www.chl.cc or call their office at 888-814-3335.
Alliance Portfolio is a licensed real estate broker. California DRE broker license 01868859, NMLS 324460.
Are you looking to diversify or add real estate secured investments to your portfolio? Did you know that investing in trust deeds can provide a better return with better security than many other alternate investments? For over 20 years, Alliance Portfolio has been providing the highest quality mortgage fund and trust deed investment opportunities with first-class service and communication. Alliance Portfolio offers well underwritten loans, low loan-to-value ratios, and all secured by prime Southern California coastal community real estate. At Alliance Portfolio, we don't just lend money, we lend our expertise. Call 949-349-1322 today and let us know that you heard us on the Dino and Nelson Show to capitalize on a special opportunity. That's 949-349-1322. Investors, when our job is done, your job is easy. Sit back and capitalize. 949-349-1322 or text the word Alliance to 313131.
Welcome back to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. If you have any questions for myself or any of my guests here today, call us at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, or you can check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This segment is brought to you by CDA Law Center, expert loan modifications with decades of legal experience in real estate. So joining us today in our discussion panel with the experts is Valerie Torelli and Stacey Harmon. Valerie is the owner and founder of Torelli Realty, a residential realty firm based in Costa Mesa, California. For over 25 years, Valerie has been engaged in full-time sales, lease, and property management of residential real estate. Valerie has personally closed escrow on over 2,000 homes and has grown Torelli Realty into the #1 real estate firm in Costa Mesa. Stacey Harmon is the owner of Harmon Enterprises. Stacey is a social media expert strategist who specializes in real estate marketing and branding. Today, we're going to be talking about women in business, how to achieve success. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Good to be here.
So I have to say, on the ride up here, I got a chance to talk with both of you a little bit and got to experience a little bit of your personalities. So I'm going to warn you right now, Valerie.
I'm going to try.
This is my show. Do not keep talking. At some point, you're going to have to stop. We only got an hour.
Bogart, I promise.
Okay. So, Valerie, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about you and your company.
We absolutely love what we do and feel privileged that we can do it. We truly believe that homes are not just a place where people hang out, but where they thrive, where they do all the things that make their home a place to be over and over and over again. And we support that. We really want to have everyone be happy where they are and not putting a square peg into a round hole. So it's enabled us to listen, connect with people. It's beyond a career. It's a lifestyle, and we're honored to do it.
And I know on the way up here, you were talking about how you love doing what you do, and you said it was so much passion.
Oh, yeah, you took it out of me on the way up here, but no, I get one of the things that we talk about and why we do what we do is we call it we use Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a way of saying bringing value to what we do. And so, basically you can only live so long without air, very, very short period of time. You can't live long without water. And right below that is food. Maybe 30 days, your last 15 will be frickin' miserable. And right below that is shelter. And last time I checked, we don't have feathers. We don't have fur. And so we look at it as that what we do is noble. I provide shelter. I help someone with their very shelter. And that to me is just an honor. It's just an honor.
Gosh, it's really nice to hear somebody talk about it that way because it's not a job for you.
No, it's
so
not.
far beyond that. And I know for myself being in the real estate industry, I think of myself as a little boy. I have little kids now, and I don't live in the same city. I grew up in San Clemente, but this past weekend, I took my kids down there to eat at my dad's old restaurant and kind of, show them Bapu, they call him because he's Greek, but Grandpa's old restaurant.
Yes, yes.
And then I couldn't help myself. I drove him by the house I grew up in. I said, that's where Daddy grew up.
I totally get that. It's the memories that we create.
Memories.
It is. It's so deep and so ingrained. It's it's right there. It's shelter. And yes, to go home again, to create those memories and to think that we have a part of that. It's so important to us. And so we connect buyers with sellers. We do more than just paperwork. I even hate the term real estate agent. It's so disgusting. We're like the concierge, the home is the home. If the home's good, anybody can do what I do.
Sure.
How do I make it real and bring value to that? Thank you for sharing that memory thing. That's so true.
Well, I'm excited to get back to you with some of the questions, because you're not just an amazing woman, as you all heard, but you're also a very good businesswoman.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. Stacey, who is the social media guru, tell me about what you do.
So Harmon Enterprises helps to kind of digitize mostly real estate agents' marketing and workflow processes. And we have, as much as Valerie has this passion for selling, working with buyers and sellers, we have as strong a passion for channels like Facebook and tools like Evernote, which help real estate agents to really modernize their marketing efforts and carry their offline brand online. Be consistent in that, and then also save time and be very paperless and mobile in their business, relationship-based business. They need to be in touch with those people out in the field, talking to them, and the tools that we introduce them to and train them on and help them with help to foster that and continue it on after the fact.
When you say digitize, what do you mean by that?
So I think that it's imperative that all businesses start to go totally paperless. Moving towards everything being in a digital format, so that you have what you need with you when you're on the road, so that you're not tied to a fax machine waiting for a contract to come in, so that your marketing is on Facebook and Twitter and on the web and in social channels that really allow you to reach greater numbers of people. And the way that consumers are working is they're researching you online. So
Sure.
They're going digital in their process of evaluating you. And small businesses and real estate agents and any business really needs to kind of work in tandem with that. And the flexibility, efficiency, and ongoing competitiveness that can come from that is really what we try to focus on.
And, in the car on the way up here, as we were talking, I said something because I definitely want to use you later, because as I've grown my business, I found myself creating all these new systems that help, but then I outgrow the system because, it worked. And I end up having to restructure or re-architect the system. And I'm going crazy, constantly redoing that. And I think what it is it's time for me to put an architectural plan together that will allow me to grow to a level beyond what next year is going to be.
Absolutely.
And that's where Stacey comes in, and I believe would be able to really...
What I find is that what's missing for people is there's so many new tools and opportunities, and they don't know how to put a strategy together to deploy that so that they can create a system, because you've got to have a system. That's what allows you to scale and grow. We just have so many opportunities in this digital age that people are unfamiliar with, and I help bring clarity to really what it is that they need to focus on in order to effectively deploy that in their world and move into a digital age.
You're listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. And if you have any questions for these guests and you miss any part of this show down the road, you can always go check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com or on our Facebook channel. So, ladies, I have a bunch of questions for you, and I'm dying to ask these. Probably because I'm really curious to see if I'm going to agree with you, being the only male in this room here today. So, first question: what type of unique challenges do you think women face when starting a business?
Oftentimes, I think the perception of a woman-owned business. I think we have to show up oftentimes to the party a little bit stronger, a little bit more knowledgeable, so that there isn't maybe a comparison drawn. I have age on you, Dino, so I'm pushing 60, and I've seen it change so much, and I can actually say that some of the glass ceilings have been absolutely shattered. So I don't want to say that there's a lot more, But I can show up to a meeting, and I need to be on my mark, but I also want to show up as who I am. And yes, I have some vulnerability and some sensitivity, and I don't want that to be perceived as a weakness. It is truly a strength.
Sure.
And I want to use that to my advantage. But oftentimes there are stigmas to it, and you have to overcome a little bit of that. I think there's also finding proper people to help you. I stand on the shoulders of some great people that have actually helped me get to where I am, and it's asking for that help. I felt that it's difficult to ask, and once you do, I think that it really helps you.
You mentioned the glass ceiling. Has there been that much of a difference, say, in the last 5-10 years? When was that turning point?
For me personally, I have a zillion stories about it. It was getting my own business. I don't. For me, the corporate world was very, very, very challenging. I don't have a golf course to go with and hang out with you guys. Stacey's got some younger years, and so her perceptions will be maybe a little bit different than mine. But I saw so much of it transcend. But literally owning my own business and being able to bring my own creativity and my own stamp to what I do empowered me as a human being, not just as a woman, but as a human being. It has helped me get the self-confidence I need to go forward. I'm still struggling with all the issues as a child, which we all are, I'm sure, but you know what I'm saying. It really, you're laughing, but but those are I think those challenges belong to both genders. I think with a woman, it's a little bit harder to show your soft side and not be taken advantage of, possibly.
Okay. Next question. Who's been the greatest influence in your business?
Well, for me, I've had a mentor. I've had a female mentor for most of my business career, and she's been somebody who I haven't always been a business owner. I started as an employee for many years, and I always had the opportunity to grow and have positions created for me that really played to my strengths. And I was always encouraged to really follow my skills and passions. And at some point I was able to just take that and say, okay, it's time for me to make the leap into having my own business. And so having...
When that time came, was it any doubt at all, or did you just know?
Total doubt. I was actually, scared to death. Death. It was just a nagging feeling that I had to do something different than what I was doing, and that I could accomplish my own dreams by being more in control of my environment. And I saw an opportunity, but I didn't know how I was going to make it all happen. So I really had to just dive in and try to figure it out and trust and believe in myself. And it's taken years to kind of get to the point where I now have confidence that what I'm building has legs and will carry me on, and I will be able to articulate the vision and dreams that I have for myself as a business owner.
How about you, Valerie? I mean, judging from what you said earlier, you got a tremendous amount of passion for what you do. Yes.
I have to actually, Stacey, I'm going to just riff with you on that one. I totally agree. You can see when no one can see what I'm seeing. So Stacey's face lit up when she talked about following her passion, and that's exactly what has to happen. Once you follow that, even if the money doesn't come in, your success rate in the way you feel about things is right there. So you must follow your passion. Everything else goes together. And yes, of course, I love what I do.
How important is it to be involved in a networking group?
It has helped tremendously, and that's happened to me in the last 3 years. I joined the Women's President Organization, and I'm surrounded by other women that are growing their businesses, that are scaling up, that are using those verticals to take themselves to the next level. And I'm surrounded by tremendous help. That has helped me beyond belief to be able to reach out.
How about you, Stacey?
So I don't belong to any traditional networking organizations, but community of like-minded people is kind of my take on this. And I found that essential in my business growth, is just the networking that I've done through organizations like Inman News and getting to know kind of those people all across the nation, as well as on a local level. I've created very small mastermind groups around specific business growth topics or personal growth topics that kind of influence everything. So I meet weekly with, 2 people, and we go through a process to support each other and work through some business goals together. And I find that critical in my ongoing development.
That's brilliant, Stacey. I mean, that is the mastermind group that she
really
has.
Is.
It's really
the same thing.
It's fantastic.
And I'm 100% in agreement with both of you there. I do exactly the same thing. Sometimes it's just with a friend, but it's still a like-minded, individual, and we bounce these ideas off each other. And the motivation and the passion that comes out of us when we start talking about something we believe in is when all these great ideas come out.
It's contagious.
And that's when the success happens.
Yes. It's thinking out of the box. So
you're listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. If you have any questions about anything you've heard here today, either for myself or my guests, reach out, grab a pen, and write down this number, 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, or you can check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This is a very difficult market with all kinds of pitfalls for buyers and sellers. And what I do is I do loans. So give me a call, not just the ladies for buying and selling homes or for Facebook and social media. If you need a loan in this market, call Dino at 888-814-3335. moneymatterswithdino.com, or you can even catch us on our Facebook channel. We'll be right back.
Alliance Portfolio is a licensed real estate broker. California DRE broker license 01868859, NMLS 324460.
Are you looking to diversify or add real estate secured investments to your portfolio? Did you know that investing in trust deeds can provide a better return with better security than many other alternate investments? For over 20 years, Alliance Portfolio has been providing the highest quality mortgage fund and trust deed investment opportunities with first-class service and communication. Alliance Portfolio offers well underwritten loans, low loan-to-value ratios, and all secured by prime Southern California coastal community real estate. At Alliance Portfolio, we don't just lend money, we lend our expertise. Call 949-349-1322 today and let us know that you heard us on the Dino and Nelson Show to capitalize on a special opportunity. That's 949-349-1322. Investors, when our job is done, your job is easy. Sit back and capitalize. 949-349-1322 or text the word Alliance to 313131.
When it comes to purchasing or refinancing your home, turn to someone with experience, CHL Mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing the home of your dreams, or refinancing. The team of mortgage specialists at CHL Mortgage provide you with superior knowledge and service. Their ultimate goal? Getting the highest quality loan at low rates. Their second goal? To create a lasting relationship with every client and continue to provide excellent service for years to come. If you're looking to purchase or refinance, call the experts at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Get additional details at www.chl.cc or call their office at 888-814-3335.
Welcome back to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. If you have any questions for myself or my guests, feel free to call us at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, or check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This segment is brought to you by Citywide Home Loans, bringing you low rates, specials on closing costs, and exceptional service. We're in the middle of our panel discussion with the experts, and if you're just tuning in, we're having an incredible discussion about women in business, how to achieve success. Of course, if you missed any part of the show, you can check us out on our YouTube channel, Power Players Radio, or on our website at moneymatterswithdino.com. With me today is Valerie Torelli from Torelli Realty and Stacey Harmon from Harmon Enterprises. Ladies, we have had an action-packed segment with so much content, and you guys are just fantastic. So thanks again for staying with me here. And I have a couple more questions for you. To date, who's been the biggest influence in your business and why?
I have two.
Okay.
Patrick Vealing at Real Data Strategies gave me some insight on growing the company. Before I was just a business, now I'm a company. And it made me think of things in a different way. And then Deborah Valley from the Women's President Organization, she was our group leader, and she's the one who told me it was okay to change the way I was thinking. And it made me think of things in a different way. Also, as before, I wanted to decimate my competition. And it was just, it's just, those anger issues you might have as a child, whatever. And now what I want to do is see other people succeed, and there's enough success for both of us. And just that small shift grew my business between those two people over 50% in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How about you, Stacey?
Well, as I alluded to before, I had a mentor for 18 years that I still work with in the real estate space in Newport Beach. And most recently, though, in terms of my entrepreneurial efforts, I have a friend who's a very successful businessman who really offers me insights into different books that support kind of business philosophies at work. I was introduced to David Allen's Getting Things Done philosophy, the GTD philosophy, and that led to all kinds of opportunities to be more efficient in my own business. It led to me saying, wow, I can deploy GTD in Evernote, and suddenly I'm the Evernote GTD ambassador, right? And I've got all kinds of business opportunities around that. So just being introduced to people who are more successful than me, these two voices in particular have really helped influence kind of what is going on with my business today.
That's great. Well, I got a loaded question for you now. Who's stronger, a man or a woman, when it comes to being a boss?
Stronger. Stacey, I'm gonna go. You take that, girl.
I mean, I think it's the wrong question. It's really the strongest person is the person that knows themselves and how to manage their business and such. And both men and women are going to be strong and weak at that. So it depends on the individual person. I mean, I don't think there's a gender bias in that. It's about how you can kind of grow as a person and be articulate about what you're after, what your goal is, and how you treat the people around you. And you're going to attract like-minded people, and finding the right people to partner with and support you and be part of your team is a critical element.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's everything.
It's absolutely everything.
But the strongest person in the room is the one who hires someone stronger than themselves and allows them to shine.
I used to be in the retail business years ago. I started when I was in my college days, actually, and then I ended up in retail. And I eventually opened up 5 retail stores, and I had a manager that overlooked all of them. And at some point, we had a little bit of an issue, right? Because she did a lot, and she thought she was kind of in charge of the whole thing. And the philosophy I had and what I explained to her was, listen, you're not as good as you think, because the way you've set things up is, if you get hit by a bus on the way to work tomorrow, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to your responsibilities? So to me, the strongest person is that sets things up in a way that it can survive without them. The mistake you're making is you're trying to set it up in a way that I can't survive without you, because you think you're going to make your job, and it's not that way. I said, your job is to make it so I can survive without you, and my job is to make it so my family can survive without me if anything happens.
Perfect. That's perfect. Give first. I do too. Give first, and it comes back. Empower those around you.
Well, on that note too, though, I'm always looking for people that are constantly learning or willing to learn. So that's kind of my nature. I'm always curious about what the next thing is, or this is how I tend to stay in social media and be on the edge, right?
Sure.
It's like that's where I'm curious. And so when I look to work with people, whether they're vendors or employees, their interest in learning and adapting and changing is a key element, because I can learn from them and I need them to learn from me. And together we're going to work on that system so that, we're not dependent on one
what's
individual.
interesting about what you just said, though, is that when you have our parents' generation, they never really had to learn. It was a very small-minded society at the time. You get married, you get a job, you do the same thing every day, you live in the same house. There was no new technology other than the TV. And come on, it wasn't that hard to work. Now, to work a TV, I mean, you got hundreds, if not more, channels. You got a DVR. You can record up to 4 at a time. I mean, it gets very confusing. So if you're not willing to learn these days, you're dead.
Dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's I love that, because what Stacey said, she used the word curious, and what I look for in friends and everyone, and is that I want to associate with is this curiosity. If you have curiosity, that is one of the most exciting, enticing, contagious things that you can possibly have. So I love that. I love that about just meeting her and Stacey for the first time and just saying that. And I think Michelangelo at 80 years old said, "I'm still learning." My God, if he was, and who are we to fight that back?
You're listening to Money Matters with Dino at KTLK AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Or you can actually look us up online too at moneymatterswithdino.com or our Facebook page, Money Matters with Dino. Ladies, what's the best advice you've received in business that you wish to pass on to listeners?
The best advice, there's so much. The one thing that instantly comes to mind, and this is so unfair because you didn't prep me for this. The one thing that comes to mind is there's enough for everybody, that there really is enough for everybody, and to what I have learned to share. And the more I share, the more I do something that doesn't have something attached to it other than pure intention to share, has resulted in extraordinary personal growth and spiritual growth. So sharing is the big one.
So my dad told me when I was a little girl, he's like, he didn't prep me to be an entrepreneur. He prepped me to succeed in the workforce. And he said to me, always make your boss look good and you'll never go wrong. And I thought, as that just changes in context. When you become the owner, my boss is almost the customer. So I'm always trying to make the customer happy and make them look good. And then I look for people that are willing to support that in me. And I found that to be really great advice because it gives a lot of flexibility to, the role that you have in whatever organization you are. And if I'm focused on making you look good, whether it's the customer or the boss or employees, then I'm doing the right thing. I'm focusing on the right thing.
Right. I'm going to give a quick dad story, too, just because I love my dad to pieces, and he taught me so much. And I grew up in the restaurant business. He had hamburger places, restaurants, and he was so concerned always about putting out the best hamburger, and actually the best hamburgi. Even after all these years in the United States, he can't say hamburger after thousands of hamburgers that he sold. So the best hamburgi he could possibly produce in the shortest amount of time, he said, "You'll succeed." That is the most important thing. He goes, your customers, they will keep coming back if you can do that. And it's basically what you just said as well. Okay, so next question. What's the biggest mistake you see women starting out in business? And what kind of advice can you give them?
I would say from personal experience and then watching women or men struggling, but especially women, is to ask for help, is to be open and get a support group of people with you that are invested in your success, whether it be financial, emotional, or spiritual, to ask for help and not feel that it is a sign of weakness. I think that is one of the biggest things. Also to understand that a business is an ongoing concern, and that if you're making $10,000 one month, that you still have taxes and reinvestment in your business and reinvest in yourself. That's the biggest thing that I've seen is where you can make it for a month or two or three or even a couple of years and not think of it as a long-term living, breathing thing.
Sure.
Your business.
Sure.
I totally agree with this. It's something I was guilty of. I thought I had to do it all and know it all. And I thought I had to be perfectly educated on all of it in order to move forward. And I didn't have a support system. And as soon as I changed that and actively sought mentors that could coach me on certain elements, things started to change. In addition, I didn't have a written plan initially. And once I got that clarity that putting a plan in place, a revenue plan for the year, understanding what my expenses were, having that granular level of business insight really sharpened what I spent my time and effort and said yes and no to. That was the other mistake that I made a lot. I would say yes to everything because I wanted all the potential opportunities that could come from it.
Right.
And once I had the intelligence about my business from a financial perspective, it really sharpened and clarified what I should be spending my time on.
That's great advice. What about intuition? That's the one thing that I think women have over men. You know, for the most part, I believe it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Really, you got to have the passion that we talked about earlier, and you can succeed with. You got to have some know-how and some smarts to go along with it. But when it comes to men and women, the one big difference that I truly believe in is intuition. Women seem to have that. Do you have that, Valerie?
If I was going to write a book, it would be called Hitchhiking Through Life. And I used to hitchhike everywhere from age 12 to about 14 or 15. So I would say 400 or 500 cars I got into.
Are you kidding?
I swear, yeah. It was. You talk about the poor trash. That was me. And
okay, so you got to log on and see the pictures of her. She does look like a little bit of a hippie.
Still. So what I think was, it's not that you maybe wouldn't have gotten into, Charlie Manson's car or Ted Bundy's car, but I'd like to think that I always knew which car to get into. And I'm going to now use that as in the context for intuition is so important. And we all have it. That primal part of your brain that you don't listen to, fear, flight, whatever, fight, fear, run, or go with it. And you have to listen to that voice. And the minute you don't, the minute a woman doesn't listen to when the guy, says for the, the first time or hits you, but it was only Wednesday that he hits me, it's okay. What is your voice telling you? You have to listen to that. So, just be careful whose car you get in, and even more important, be more careful about who you let into your car.
So insightful.
Really? Oh, thank you for that.
No,
you already got my business. But
I particularly love what you just said. And also be very careful about who gets into your car.
It's even more important.
Yeah.
Who do you allow into your space? What Stacey was saying about the mentors that you allow in. Who do you allow in? It's huge. It's huge.
I follow my intuition all the time. And in relation to business, there were two particular events. They were conferences, and I just knew I had to be there. So I went. And I didn't know exactly why, but I was right. And it opened up opportunities that have defined, what I'm doing today. So I trust my gut.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with passion. And before you guys even came into the room, I was talking about purpose. Have purpose. And when you have that purpose, then the meaning and the passion and your true calling will come. And that's what I think is important. And the truth is, man or woman, when you have that passion, that intuition is there. Completely.
People feel it. They don't. A man wouldn't say he feels it. He would say, I think he's a good guy. He's the right. A woman's going to use a different word, but we all know when that is true, when it's authentic.
So normally here in the end of the show, we go to this Ask Dino segment, which we're still going to do, but you guys are so great. I'm going to keep you guys on a little bit longer if you have enough time.
We don't get to ask you questions, Stacey.
You can ask me to ask Dino questions. So you're listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335 or at moneymatterswithdino.com. Stick around after the break. We're going to speak to the ladies and ask them just a couple more questions, and then Phil is going to ask me all the Ask Dino questions from earlier in the week that you, the listener, have either emailed us or Facebooked us. We'll be right back.
When it comes to purchasing or refinancing your home, turn to someone with experience, CHL Mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing the home of your dreams, or refinancing. The team of mortgage specialists at CHL Mortgage provide you with superior knowledge and service. Their ultimate goal? Getting the highest quality loan at low rates. Their second goal? To create a lasting relationship with every client and continue to provide excellent service for years to come. If you're looking to purchase or refinance, call the experts at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Get additional details at www.chl.cc or call their office at 888-814-3335.
Alliance Portfolio is a licensed real estate broker. California DRE broker license 01868859, NMLS 324460.
Are you looking to diversify or add real estate secured investments to your portfolio? Did you know that investing in trust deeds can provide a better return with better security than many other alternate investments? For over 20 years, Alliance Portfolio has been providing the highest quality mortgage fund and trust deed investment opportunities with first-class service and communication. Alliance Portfolio offers well underwritten loans, low loan-to-value ratios, and all secured by prime Southern California coastal community real estate. At Alliance Portfolio, we don't just lend money, we lend our expertise. Call 949-349-1322 today and let us know that you heard us on the Dino and Nelson Show to capitalize on a special opportunity. That's 949-349-1322. Investors, when our job is done, your job is easy. Sit back and capitalize. 949-349-1322 or text the word Alliance to 313131.
Thank you for hanging with us. This is Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. I'm your host, Dino Katsiametis, and I'm here to give you the tools and information to build a secure and strong portfolio of real estate. If you have any questions for myself or any of my guests that you've heard here today, give us a call at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, or check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This segment is brought to you by Alliance Portfolio, high-yield, low-risk investment funds utilizing Southern California real estate. If you don't know what that is these people have mortgage funds and they lend money. Basically, they play bank. And you can get in on these funds with as little as $5,000, and your money is basically secured by real estate in Southern California and lent out at, may I say, good yields right now, much better than you get at the bank, and they are secure. So we're back here with the ladies again, and I could not stop the segment, even though we need to get to this Ask Dino segment, because I had one more great question for him. And Valerie, let's start with you. What would you say your greatest professional accomplishment is to date?
I think to have the market share in our community. We sell the most amount of homes, buyers and sellers, and there's only 12 of us. That's huge. So we outproduce hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people that compete in our space. That's
some
huge.
Really big names too, right?
Yeah, it is, and I'm not going to mention any other names. And I've also empowered other women in my company to do that as well, the men and the women. So to be able to pass that on has been incredible. We're part of the community. We put on several big events that the city council has recognized that people come to, thousands of people. We have a Christmas event that we put on every year with bringing Santa in. We truck in 60 tons of snow.
Wow.
We do an Easter egg hunt, an egg excitement with 400 or 500 people come, and we raise money for all the local schools. That's huge for us. And we do a big pumpkin patch, and we've been doing those for about 20 years now. So people literally from all over plan on being to those events. So being part of the community has been a great, great success. And them embracing us is cool. And I can't end this without saying that I'm also a working mom, and that my son is one of the coolest things that I've raised a son that is a decent human being and still running a business has just been a really cool accomplishment.
That's great to hear.
Thanks for asking.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
How you, Stacey?
So I kind of look at my business accomplishments as little wins instead of one greatest accomplishment. But most recently, I was selected as one of Evernote's ambassadors. I'm their Evernote GTD ambassador, as I mentioned. And Evernote's a application, a free productivity software that is highly regarded, often a top 10 app in the end of years. They have about 45 million users, and they have this team of about 50 people who go out and are power users that just love the software. And for them to select me as one of their ambassadors was a real validation that my articulation and evangelizing of how fabulous this piece of software was and how transformative it can be for your business or your personal life was a great platform that offered me a lot of support. And it's really shaping the direction that my company is going in the year ahead. So I was like tickled pink almost.
How were you chosen for that?
Well, I have a passion for Evernote, so I showed up at places where I got to meet Evernote people and went to their conference, and then I applied on their website. Anybody can do the same, and I was contacted, interviewed, and selected. So, And now I get to share my story, and when I speak, and people are interested in hearing about these kinds of things, and it's really just been very rewarding and starting to snowball into something that is just so in line with my back to the being digital and paperless and productive, which are my passions.
Well, I'm extremely excited because I am new to Evernote, probably just a couple weeks old.
Okay.
And now that I know you personally, I'm hoping I might be able to get a little bit of free advice, which
well,
probably
it's
isn't good
transformative.
business, a good business decision for you. But hopefully you'll do that for me just a little bit, then I'll pay you for the rest.
Well, we talked about how I have to say no to certain things now, remember?
Man.
That's empowering.
I think it's time to end that segment.
Of course, I will be happy to help you.
Well, Valerie, Stacey, thank you so much for being on the show. You guys are both just absolutely fantastic. And if you didn't hear all of the interview with them, you can go on YouTube, on Power Players Radio, or you can even go to our website, Money Matters with Dino. We'll have the YouTube video up there. You can also give us a call at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, and I'll put you in touch with them directly. So this final segment here to end the show is our famous Ask Dino segment. And this is basically where you, the listener, you need some advice, some free advice, Stacey. Mm-hmm. And basically you can either go on Facebook or our website, ask the question, and I'll do my best to answer it. So, Phil, you're in charge of getting these here for me, and I know you're always trying to kind of stump me if you could. So, what do you got?
I haven't been able to yet.
Well, that's as we try and weed those questions out to stump me. No, so what do you got for me?
All right. First one is: can you explain PMI insurance? What is it, and why do I need it?
It's the biggest crock of, no, it's PMI insurance is private mortgage insurance. And basically, if you don't have more than 20% equity in your house when you're buying it, so if you're not putting 20% down, you're going to be forced to have PMI. And that number is derived from a few different things. But basically, depending on how much equity you have in your house, the formula will come together. And it could be anywhere from $100 to if you have an FHA loan, $500, $600, $700 a month. So it's very expensive, and that's why it's a benefit if you can put down 20%. It'll save you a lot of money.
I'm in the process of consolidating my student loans. They're approximately $45,000 and would like to purchase my first home. Will having student loans be a deterrent to obtaining a mortgage?
No. It's just like having any other debt. So whether it's a car payment or credit card payment, it depends on what your monthly payment is. You got to have a debt ratio that falls within the guidelines. So if you have a $45,000 student loan, depending on what your rate is and what your monthly payment is, as long as your debt ratio falls within those guidelines, you're fine. It doesn't matter what the debt is.
Okay. Is there a product called a biweekly mortgage where you pay half of your monthly mortgage amount every 2 weeks? I heard the benefit of this mortgage is that you can cut the life of the loan by several years. Is this true?
It is true. And that product does exist. After you get your loan, you can call the bank, tell them you'd like to get on that program, and basically your payment is made every 2 weeks instead of once a month.
So why is that? Why does that save anybody money? Is it the interest that they would have paid? That
it's basically you paid a portion 2 weeks earlier, and that 2 weeks, believe it or not, does save you a lot of money, right? Because it's not carrying through another 2 weeks. So in theory, whenever you have the extra money, you should pay it down earlier. The people, for example, that wait till the very last day to make the payment, the formula is based on that. But if you make the payment early, well, it paid it off a little early as well. And then less interest is actually calculated.
Okay, I'm throwing this in there. This is my question now. But in this market right now, is it better because, real estate's such a good kind of investment? Is it better to sort of put your extra money towards another piece of property or to pay down the one you have?
So many people have different opinions on that. Mm-hmm. My particular personal opinion is no. If you have an interest rate at 3.5%, 4%, I don't necessarily agree with trying to pay off that house early, right? There's a million other things you could do, a million other avenues that you can put that money into. And if let's just say you take an extra $500 a month, and instead of paying down your mortgage by $500, which will significantly help, and you'll knock off, I don't know, probably 7 to 10 years off the time of your loan. If you took that same amount of money, stuck it into some sort of an investment fund and waited 20 years and just let it continue to grow, bet you anything you'll have more money in that 20 years. Now, with all that said, I also want to get back to the original question of the bi-monthly payments. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily agree with them for a couple reasons. One, once you say you want to do it and they put you in that program, you're stuck. You absolutely have to make that payment every 2 weeks. So the reason why I don't agree with it, I like it and I would urge you to do it, but do it on your own. Have the discipline to do it on your own, because if you go along with the program and anything changes in your life, which after the last several years, guess what? Things do change in your life. And anything goes wrong and you can't afford it, now you're stuck. So I don't agree with putting yourself into any environment that makes you stuck. Well, that's the end of our show. You've been listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTLK AM1150. If you have any questions about anything you heard on the show today, don't wait. Pick up the phone, get the answers you need. We're here to help. Dial 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Or you can find us online at moneymatterswithdino.com, a tremendous resource for you to use at any time. Thank you to my expert panelists this week from Torelli Realty, Valerie Torelli, and Stacey Harmon from Harmon Enterprises. Also, a big thanks to my humble producer, Phil, for all the work you do on the show.
That cracks me up. That's going to make me laugh every time.
I told you I'm going to better your reputation here. Yeah, it's my goal to make your reputation.
It's got a long way to go, so that's great.
A guy from New York, humble. So thank you, though, Phil. You do a lot of work one way or another. No matter what anybody else says about you, I love you. So, and I truly love being here every time. And I want to thank you, the listener, the most, because you're here joining us. And if you missed any part of the show, you can go online at moneymatterswithdino.com, or you can go to YouTube at Power Players Radio. We love you. We'll see you next week.